Flacco. I'm convinced all of this conversation, people starting to pile up against Stefanski makes me believe that maybe Flacco forced his way out. Because today they were also trying to sell in Cleveland that Flacco and Barry are not on the same page, that there's friction between. So there's friction between Barry and Flacco. No, Barry and Stefanski. And then they want you to believe that Barry and Haslam are on the same page. Stefanski is the odd man out. Right? We shall see. I know I'm just over here cheering for Flacco. 30-24. Let's see. It's the fourth quarter, 5 minutes and 16 seconds left. It's close. We're gonna see what happens. Cincinnati have the ball. We'll check back in later on. Okay. So this was another quote right here with an example. And I know Gil's Arena, people liked it because we said we want these athletes to have their own shows. Yes, I want you to have your own shows, but allowing people to come push a narrative against players that look like you, which is really just the NFL narrative, is not the goal. It's just not the goal, right?
I think that's what.
I mean, they didn't win national championship.
I mean, Shedeur and them didn't either.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
But
they,
listen,
they
the odds
turned around.
Shedeur at Jackson State and then coming to Colorado where they were a doormat.
I mean, they completely turned around the team that they went to. You know what I'm saying? The team was flat and damn near dead, and they brought it back to life. So I feel like Cam Ward does have that ability, and I feel like that's why him and Shedeur, they kind of clicked. That's what they got in common. That's why they're so close, because they both kind of got that charisma.
Yeah, they do.
To turn the team around. You know what I'm saying? So,
I agree with that too. I mean, when you watch Cam Ward on film, he makes some throws that not a lot of guys can make, and he has these arm angles that you don't learn.
So at this point, I think this show is somebody must have asked Gil to start a show because he had a lot of clout in the YouTube space, and they just somehow turned the microphone over to people from the NFL. That's what it's given. It just, remember the NFL Network sold off their network to ESPN, but this way, Gil's Arena, who's basketball, started talking about football, and now we got people on here pushing these ridiculous narratives, pitting Shedeur against Cam, instead of saying they are both good. That Cam and Shedeur should have been drafted number 1 and number 2 as predicted. To want to belittle Cam, to try to elevate Shedeur, that's not the goal. That's not the goal at all. So this is the game coming up. Both teams are 1 and 5, and the loser gets fired. And somebody decided to put Shedeur down here to celebrate. I think everybody knows at this point Shedeur should be playing. So, we'll see what happens. If some people say they're going to the game, let me know your thoughts if you're going to the game or not. I wasn't planning, to watch it, but just let me know your thoughts. So I told y'all that there was a poll out there with some people who were following Chat Sports, and that I think Z sent it over to me. So I think they had like 3,000 votes, and I said, okay, so I know what I'm gonna do, right? They have 3,000 votes, so I'm gonna go ahead and share it with my audience, but I'm going to poll my audience to see basically what they decided to do in terms of what my fans think, right? What my supporters think. So let's see if I can find it, because I thought it was good. I think most of them, the question was, should Shedeur Sanders play on Sunday? I think that was the question. And I know, here it is right here. All right, so that's the question. Should Shedeur Sanders play on Sunday? Take this off and put this back, and then share those comments. And then y'all get to see what they say. And I think I shared what she said, sports community said. All right, so as you could see right here. All right, this is the poll. Z sent this to me early in the day. I'm sure the numbers have changed, but it's a good sample, right? It's a good sample. It says, Browns report by Chat Sports. This was 5 hours ago. It said, and that was when I got it. So that was early in the day. So they answered it quick. 3,000 people voted. Should the Browns start Shedeur Sanders? These are mostly Browns fans. It might be some Shedeur Sanders fans sprinkled in, but these are mostly Browns fans. And they said 78% of them said yes. And only 22% said no. Now, on my poll, I extended the verbiage to go beyond yes or no to kind of see what people were thinking. So let's see if we can find that one. So this is what I meant when I said the caption said the Browns fans are speaking up, because I don't hear a lot of talk about Dylan no more. I saw one post say, Dylan has only played 2 games. And I was like, and? I'm like, he played 64 or 63 in college. That's enough. Despite what the hell it is that Drew Brees was selling. Let me tell you what Drew Brees was selling. Okay. He said rookies, quarterbacks need 50 starts, 50 high level. Keyword is high level. 50 high level starts. That includes the NFL. So I went and checked to see where Dylan went to school, because I knew he was in school for 6 years or something like that. So he played, looked like 3 years at USF. Then he went to Oklahoma for 2 seasons, seemingly, and then Oregon. Now, Drew Brees said they need 50 high-level starts to be good, trying to justify why Dylan should keep playing, even though Dylan was in school for 6 years, played 63, 64 games. The key word is high level. Which school do you think that they don't consider high level play? The one he was at for 3 years, which means he's only played 2 games. Give him 3 more years. That's 25, 26, and 27. And guess who coming out of school at 27? 26 or 27. You see how the timing lines up to go from Dylan to the Manning kid? You see the running around pushing the narratives on all these other podcasts. So here's what's happening, guys. We have podcasters that are doing really well, that have audiences, that have curated audiences like Shannon Sharp. Because why? He tells the truth, something that they can't talk about on these big box channels. They can't tell the truth like that. But that's how their audience grew so rapidly, because it's a breath of fresh air, right? So it's a breath of fresh air that you could tell the truth. And when your audience gets into the close to 1 million, here come the biggest box channels trying to get you on their network or get you to be a talking head for them, which controls what you say. Because when you sign a contract, I'm sure there's a morality clause. You can't go back to your own show and say certain things. First, we saw it with Shannon. Now we're seeing it with Cam. Now we're seeing it with Gil's Arena. And they did one better with Gil's Arena. They put people on there, on those shows, to do the talking rather than just the sponsorships, so their voices can be heard on these popular podcast platforms, thereby silencing the truth. That's why you got to look for the play when they come for you. And look at what ended up happening to Shannon. And now Cam is moving on. He got ESPN and BET, right? And then he got his own show. So, Cam said something, I think, on ESPN, and he was speaking the truth, and people thought he was going to have to walk it back. I don't know if he had to walk it back or not. But it'll be interesting, the partnership. It'll be interesting, the dynamic between his own show, because he has 2 shows. And they both are good. He has his 2 shows. He's on BET and he's on ESPN. With ESPN and BET, which is Viacom, I think, being corporate, it'll be interesting to see what he can do on his own shows going forward. Because why? He's that popular. But you give up your voice when you sign their contracts. So we'll see. We shall see. All right, let's see if we can get to my poll. Let's see. All right. So I had a poll in here. Let's see if I can get it. Hold on one second. So I'm going to see. I think last time I checked, I think I put it in the comments too, so y'all can look at it there. Let's see my profile. So our numbers, again, we are actually mostly Shedeur Sanders fan, Coach Prime fan. It might be a Browns fan sprinkled in here or there. I know Selmo is a Browns fan, right? I know Selmo is a Browns fan. So it's a few Browns fans sprinkled in, but by and large, we are not Browns fans. So let's see. All right. I'll just pull it up. So we'll just share it. The score is 31-30 for fourth quarter, 2 minutes, 21 seconds. Pittsburgh got the edge at the last minute. And I don't know who has the ball, but we shall see. It looked like Pittsburgh just scored. So one point game, guys. 1 point game with 2 minutes left. What y'all think gonna happen? I think Pittsburgh gonna win. But it was a good showing for Flacco, and I think that was the point. I think that's all that was expected. That Flacco wasn't the problem. Baker Mayfield wasn't the problem. Shedeur is not the problem. Is Dylan the problem, or is it all Stefanski? I think Stefanski choosing Dylan, knowing Dylan wasn't a true quarterback. All fingers are going to point at him for picking somebody that wasn't a good quarterback, which is saying he doesn't know talent. That's essentially what that's saying. All right. So I can share our poll. All right. I hope y'all remember. They were overwhelmingly wanted Shedeur to play. I think ours is a little closer, guys. Ours is a little closer. All right. So you can see my screen. All right. It says, tell us should Shedeur Sanders, should the Browns start Shedeur Sanders with Miami this Sunday? We had 54 votes. It said, heck yeah, Shedeur can win versus Miami, 57%. And it said, nah, not if Stefanski is still the head coach, 43%. Do you see how close it is? So they had a much wider disparity. So that means they're not looking at the coach. They're looking strictly at the quarterback. So that means the Browns fans have come to the realization that the best quarterback is Shedeur Sanders. On our poll, which is mostly Shedeur Sanders fans, shows concern for Shedeur because we're like, yes, he should play because he can win, but maybe he shouldn't because Stefanski is still the head coach, and that could not be good. That might not be good for Shedeur. So this is why I did it that way. You take the temperature in two different environments, right? And then you look at what they care about. The Browns fans just want to win. They know Dylan not it. They ready to move on to Shedeur. We know Shedeur can win, but we have the concern that with Stefanski as the head coach, it could be once again problematic for Shedeur like it was with the Rams game, meaning he could get set up to get hurt or he could get set up to fail. So that was the difference in the polls. That's what I wanted y'all to see. All right, so let me see what y'all are saying about all of this. Your thoughts about, what's really taking place. Whether it's about Skip, it could be about Coach Prime and the scrimmage that they just had. I was looking at the little footage of that. Juju did really well. He made, what they say, something out of nothing. There was some bad snapping going on. And he still made a play, made a complete pass. So shout out to Coach Prime for actually having a scrimmage for players that don't play or that are thinking about hopping into the transfer portal. And y'all told me it was true. I did see Brett Bertolone on the side calling the plays. So hopefully that's a sign that he's going to be calling the plays going forward. Because the complaint that they have about Kevin Stefanski's plays being predictable are the same complaints that we have. All right, there's 187 of us in here. Let's check in with the comments and see what's going on. Hey, everybody. Hey, Nikki. Hey, Gail. Hey, Sharon. Hey, Tina. How you doing? Talisa.